ready to go? Cool. Right, everyone, if we can come to order and then make a start. As you can see, I'm in the chair, not Alistair, so that's the first item, which is apologies for absence. So we've obviously got Councillor Bradley. Councillor Murray may be here, but she has got another engagement this evening, so I'd ask if we could submit her apologies, but obviously if she turns up then unsubmit them. Any others? Lower in quantity, but higher in quality, eh? Okay. I nearly got that the wrong way round. Which I won't say it was linked to the fact that I looked up and looked around the room, but anyway, I will stick to it. I did say it the right way around, and that's all that matters. Right, declarations of any interest, item 2. No, we're all happy. Public questions?
None received, Chair.
None received. Excellent. In that case, straight to item 4, and I'm already on the wrong page, which is the revenue budget monitoring quarter 3, pages 11 to 30. So let me get to page 11, and I will hopefully take members through. So the quarter 3 reports perhaps what we've had, I think at least twice now on previous revenue reports, which is the overspend, or forecast overspend rather, of just in excess of 300,000. So this has been reported in the past, as it sets out in the paper very clearly. That is due to the fact that we have the increased pressures, mainly obviously the staff costs. So when we originally set out the budget, we were predicting, I think, a 2% rise. Clearly that what we ended up agreeing was significantly more, given the position that we're in terms of the world and inflation, and etc. So that has been put a pressure on us that we hadn't originally foreseen over 12 months ago. So what the report sets out is that initially that will come from the reserves, as it were, which takes our balances to 3.8 million. We do have a policy of keeping that at 4, and as it says there on item paragraph 7, that of course that will be kept there if necessary. We'll download, as it says, draw down rather, from earmark reserves to make up that balance at budget time. So that's the sort of the general position. What it then does is break down the departments in terms of overspends, underspends. Perhaps one of the excellent reasons the leader isn't here is because his department is significantly overspent, and obviously didn't want to justify why that was the case. Financing and other budgets, of course, significantly under, but all jokes aside, it is obviously been significant pressures on various departments. They are given in the report, please. I don't think it's necessary to go through each one of those. People can look at that. We then highlight the UK Shared Prosperity Fund and where that funding is being used to perhaps fund projects or work or funds that we have set to one side that are already ongoing. So it gives there the paragraph 15 a breakdown there, and that's obviously assists us because that then obviously using that money for those purposes allows that original allocation to be relied on in the future. Having gone through the departments, as I mentioned, we then just give a brief overview of the general fund reserves, which, as I say, predicted to be 3.816, the closing balance. And then obviously we've got the earmark reserves again, which members can see there again, which is an earmark reserve closing balance of £6.9 million. So again, I would argue that what we see is a position of pressure on the council's budget, but one where we are managing that pressure and, more importantly, still got those earmark reserves and still got a target of the 4 million for the general reserve as well, which we will meet come budget time. Are there any comments or questions on that one? No, looking at the screen, nothing. Okie dokie, silence is golden. That's just for noting, isn't it? So I don't need anyone to vote on that. Right. No problem, in which case straight to item 5, which is capital and balance sheet monitoring report, pages 31 to 44. Two sort of key things on the capital programme, just for noting again, and then for approving. The first is that we are got 2 new items, additional items going into the capital programme. You see there on page 33 in the table. We have the £2 million earmark for the purchase of affordable housing, something we debated at Cabinet in November, was it at the time, or full council in November. So that work's still ongoing in that, but obviously the money there in the capital programme is earmarked for that specific purpose. And then, as it says there, the 14,000 for play and open space in Longfield Avenue. So that's an additional amount for the capital programme, just in excess of £2 million. And then on the table below, at paragraph 13, we've got the slippage, and we've got a number of schemes there, such as Strawberry Meadows, or the public realms work in the town centre, the decarbonisation work here, and the delivery of play and recreation and open space projects. They have all been ongoing, but some in the case haven't been completed, so that's why, again, it's slipping into next year. Others perhaps haven't started, but again, we're moving into that programme because it is the aim still to do them, so hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. In terms of the borrowing, again, we can see that on paragraph 32. Again, we don't see a significant change there, but just below that is obviously the council tax collection rates and business rates collection, and as it says in the report there, we are performing strongly, because we can see that our position now in December 22 is very, very similar, slightly better on council tax, slightly worse on business rates, but very still performing strongly, which again, I think, given the current climate that we're in, is good news. So that's a brief overview of the capital report. Again, any comments or questions from members? No, silence is golden again. Okay, we're all satisfied. In that case, I proposed it, obviously, recommendations in paragraph 2, 3 and 4. Do we have a seconder for that?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Adrian. All those in favour? Super. Right, straight on to item 6, which is the Q3 performance report. As it says in the report there, of the 15 key projects, we've got 85% are rated as green or complete. 15%, that's 2 of the projects, rated as amber. So we are looking to obviously address those issues of the 2, but again, I think details in the report there are pretty clear as to what's been done, and I think, in fairness to say to Tatton, in relation to Tatton, we were there on Friday, and that is impressive. I was there with ward colleagues, and Terry was there as well, and it's looking really, really ready for residents, and it'll be a fantastic facility with a community centre and the GP surgery and so on. So I think that's something that's obviously been up there on our reports for a long time, but now we've got that to a position where it's going to be open soon. We already know we've got a significant amount of interest. Some people, I think, are moving, or not moving, but are coming in very, very soon, aren't they, to actually look at their potential allocations and so on. So it's exciting times up there, and although that has been frustrating in terms of the timescales, it's going to be a major, major benefit for the East Ward of Chorley. In terms of the other project, the delivery of affordable housing within the borough, again, that's rated as amber. We have mentioned already negotiations with developers or developer, which will continue to be done, hopefully brought forward soon, and that will hopefully address that issue as well. And then we won't be hopefully we'll bridge contributing to the numbers, but more importantly, actually, in terms of the long-term affordable housing, it's about the allocations of sites as well in the local plan. So I do hope that people will do that and make sure they have one eye on that when they're considering what sites to bring forward as well. In terms of the rest of the other measures, we've seen significant improvements in the uptake of digital skills. We have seen the improving local play facilities in the borough, such as the Milestone Meadow, Foxcote play area. We've seen other improvements. So overall, I would say that things are getting better, but we're still perhaps off target on some of those. So, for example, like the digital skills, still off target, but it is improving. People who participate in volunteering, again, that's a tough one, because from what we can understand, volunteering rates have gone down across the board, everywhere, not just Chorley, but again, it's something that we've got to try and dig into a bit more. Town centre vacancy rates, this is one I've mentioned before. Again, slightly off target, but in the current climate, I think we are still performing very strongly. It's perhaps something that we might have one mind to when we come to the items later in the agenda. But the key thing is to make sure we have occupied units, to make sure the town centre is vibrant and a good varied offer. I think we're achieving that, albeit slightly off target on the rate. But I still think with some units being taken that we'll come to later, plus what we're aiming to do in the future, hopefully we'll get that back on track. So overall, I would say the picture is good, but in those areas where we are slightly off, we continue to seek to address. Any comments or questions? Terry, I thought you were about to come in on before, but you don't have to if you don't want to.
Just to repeat what you said, Tatton Gardens is moving forward at a pace now. Hoping that residents will be ready to move in, if not physically, but ready to move next month. It's originally it was planned that from the building being completed to virtual capacity, it was planned a 6-month period. We can never be certain that that will be adhered to, but that is a target that was mentioned, and hopefully we'll be able to meet it. As regards the additional homes, my fingers are crossed that this will move forward very quickly.
Fair comment. Anyone else? No? Okay. Again, that item's just for noting, so I'll take it we've all noted it. Moving swiftly on to item 7, that's Councillor Murray's item. She isn't here, so I will do that. So this is the Holiday Activity and Food Programme, and as it tells us in the report, I think this is the 3rd year in which we've been asked to look at providing this, and the money there, as it says in paragraph 3, comes from Lancashire County Council, so it's 288,000 or 288,622 to be precise. And we will, what we're recommending is that we undertake responsibility for delivery of that work, and then we commission that to Inspire Youth Zone, who again have done that work on our behalf. They are very happy doing that. They have a good relationship with our communities team, and I think that this is something that, as it says later in the report, that has been exceptionally valuable and important for those young people, and something that we as a council and our communities team, and I hope Jennifer will take this back to the staff as well, should be very proud of in terms of what they've delivered over the last couple of years. It's been full on since COVID, and as members will know from their own neighbourhood meetings, we've had some work, information about what we've done to help people with the cost of living as well, just more generally, not just in relation to children. And I think we should all be proud of what we've done and what we've achieved. But in terms of the actual programme itself, I think the works on the basis of 4 days a week for 4 hours in the day. So it's quite a reasonable package of activities, and obviously the fed as well, which is really important for those people who need it the most. It's provided, like I say, through Inspire, because again, they have the contacts with our team. And as it says there, I just found it interesting reading down in the report on paragraph pages 79 and 80, it splits up the numbers in terms of broke down by ward. So you can see in your own ward how many kids have accessed this or are entitled to. And we are set a target by the County Council that of the 2,588 children who receive free school meals, that we get at least 30%. Now you can see on last year's performance, as it says in the report there, that we did better than that, which again is to our credit. And also, not only we do better than that, but we've got the facility in there to extend it to people beyond the free to school meals. And I think that's important if you've got a group of kids that are together, that you can sort of involve people perhaps who don't actually meet the strict criteria. So as I say, personally, I think it's essential that we do that. I think it's really important that we've used that money wisely and put it to the best of purposes. And when you compare us with other authorities, as it does in the report, you can see that we perform very well in terms of reaching those people. You can always do better, but we do very well. So on that basis, I would like to recommend the items Are there any questions or comments? June?
Thanks, Chair. I did ask at last week's meeting for a list of the schools that were involved in the scheme, and it finally came through tea time today. So I've not had time to study it carefully, but I've had a look. And within Adlington, in the ward, the schools are one St Joseph's in Anderton, and the other is the Fairview Community Youth and Community Centre, which are well and good. And I mean, I commend HAP. I think it's an excellent scheme, but I don't necessarily think it's targeting the area with the highest number of children in free school meals is in the lower end of the village, and both of those facilities are in well, one is in Anderton and the higher end of the village, at least a mile away, one of them. So I was questioning whether they're in the right place, and because there is the school there on Park Road itself, in the middle of the area that we know is the greatest need. So the one question is, do ward members have any input? It might be an idea to say, well, these are the schools. Do you think they're the right ones, or could we look at doing that? Because I don't want to lose that, but I want the right children to get to it. And I think some of them in the bottom end of the village won't get there. Or they'll be checking themselves, which isn't safe, to be fair.
I think, just before, I mean, I might ask Jennifer just to comment on that issue, but I think there's two things. I mean, you are right, first of all, if there is anything you can do to increase access or make it easier, then we should be looking to do it simple as that. I hope that ward members will feed in where they can. And are given that opportunity. I think some of it is the practicality as well as speaking to the schools, so I don't know what conversation is being had in that instance or not, because I know there's some issues, some schools say yes, some say they can't or whatever, but I don't know if Jennifer, you just want to comment briefly in response to that, in terms of the
just before that, could I say, I fully agree with you, but I don't think all members have seen which schools are involved, because
no, well, I was just going to say, I was just going to ask Jennifer to comment on that issue about how we can engage with it, and then the sort of issues of the practicalities of securing the venue, if possible.
Yeah, I'll send the email out to all members. There is a huge amount of venues that we've got. I do understand that there's a few venues, well, there's lots of them all over the district. We can work with other schools. I think what we did was we'd written to all the schools, and these were the schools that come forward. Obviously, we can go back to the schools and try and persuade them to take part and for us to use their venues. But we will work with the Youth Zone to do that.
June?
Yeah, what I was going to say, if you do, to mention, because I mean, I could have brought it up because I'm governor at Adlington Primary, so I would have asked that question. Can we use it? And there'll be other people here who could do the same, so, yeah.
Fair point. Councillor Chapman, you did have your hand up and now it's gone down. Do you want to ask a question, or is that not the case?
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. The director's addressed the question I had, which was about making sure that all members get a copy of the list of schools.
Okay. Yeah, brilliant. No problem. Thanks for that. Any other comments or questions on that one? Obviously, I've made a recommendation, so could I have a seconder for that, please? Thanks, Alistair. All those in favour? Excellent. Item 8, Executive Cabinet response to the overview and scrutiny task group on Select Move. Councillor Howarth.
Thank you. Returning to this matter again, just to remind everyone, this is the report of the overview and scrutiny task group on Select Move, essentially allocations. It was chaired by June over an extended period of years, and a very hard-working group produced the report back in September. This then went with Councillor Walker, introducing it to Executive Cabinet. It was actually received, and what we're looking to do now is to formally accept this. There are 14 partners within the Select Move partnership. It needs to be approved in all areas. We're still awaiting on Preston Council to actually approve it. When that is done, it should go out very quickly to consultation, and then we can get this essentially working as quickly as possible. There are 18 recommendations which are before you. One that's worth mentioning is recommendation 6, which was amended slightly to bring it down to 2 refusals as opposed to 3 on the part of applicants. That was seen by quite a number of partners to actually speed up the process. And there was a late addition to recommendation 16 that was actually mentioned by Kim at the last meeting that we had on this, and that has now been incorporated with additional people involved in the administration of the eventual policies when they become actual practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. I'll open up to members. Councillor Walker's already got his hand up very, very quickly in there, so I'll go to you first, John.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to say thank you to the Cabinet and Councillor Howell for approving the report and putting the 18 recommendations into work as soon as possible. So it was a very excellent piece of work by the task group, chaired by Councillor Molyneux, and I'd like to thank them again for the work they did. Thank you.
There you are, June's the popular one tonight. That's 2 thank yous in one go. Any comments or questions from members on that item? No, we're all happy. In that case, Terry has proposed it. Seconded by Adrian. Thanks, all those in favour. Item 9, exclusion of the press and public. Never like doing this, but I've proposed, seconded. All those in favour. Sorry